You were supposed to hear it say recording started. Share.
We also we did include the little bit needed there. We had shell of that. And she got that. Yeah. Because honestly, you don't need something over that. There are finger sandwiches, keyboards, and fruits, and desserts, and vegetables. There are wonderful, wonderful selections for that. You don't really want to come. But the best part is that we honest they hang around.
Excellent. Input.
Because the local organizations just come up. And so this year, one of the concerts we had was Hudson Quartet, and one of the members of Hudson Quartet grew up in Snow, Ohio. Okay, her name is Hannah Moses. You'll see her photo as soon as we get this up. You know, it's like home. You know, her grandparents came, her aunts and uncles. It's really wonderful to have that kind of hometown connection. So the reception is people really look forward to. And to have a little rock, let's talk to Mr. Neighbors on that. You know, it's really nice for
And that this cord is plugged in to something. I'm telling you, the one that's plugged into something.
Wow. Here we have virgin harvest. It's really just focus on someone who is showing extraordinary. And this year was violinist South Korea. And she did choose him. And she was absolutely incredible. I happen to bring my 11-year-old grandson to that. He is in his second year of playing violin at Eastwood's Orchestra. And he didn't fall asleep. They were going home. This concert, I said, have you ever heard anybody play like that? Oh, no, that was really something. And then he talks about the different pieces that she played, because she played two rather traditional pieces, and then she played something more modern really well. And I asked him, which was your favorite? And Brandon, that never heard people play so soft. So softly. Remember, when you're brand new, you're doing a lot of cooking, and you're doing a lot of blowing, you're doing very little nuance. Nuance. And so this was an opportunity to hear someone who was a master of the violin. And when you're 12 years old, that gives you something essentially to, you know, kind of aspire to. But it was the first time he'd really heard a professional player. And know that that could possibly be a career. You know, so we want to encourage that kind of thing. Well, here we go. Let's start popping through some of these. Let's go to the next slide, James. Okay, we have a mission statement, okay? And what we're trying to do is to meld the great wealth of this community in Northeast Ohio, because we are very, very fortunate to have the quality of people that we have. And of course, CIM is really the only teaching institution that is not on the coast. Everybody else is on the West Coast or on the East Coast. And then here we are with the Cincinnati Institute of Music. It is a treasure and we use it. Okay, let's go to the next, the Cleveland. What did I say, Cincinnati? Oh my goodness. Take me back. But Cincinnati is actually affiliated only with the university.
Well, Western Reserve has the same sort of thing. So does Oberlin, so does Baldwin Wallace. You know, there are a number of departments of music affiliated with many of our universities. So John E. Perry is the guy who actually got the initial germ of an idea, and he worked for the radio, classical radio station. And you're going to hear more about Robert Henke, who was at that time the managing director of the Akron Orchestra, and Lola Rothman, who was the chairman of the Tuesday Musical Association. So these were kind of the people who were behind it. And of course, Lola's husband, Bruce was very, very involved and became actually the first president of the board. First concert was actually on September of 1983 at the Music Room, and then they moved to WRA in September of 2002. Next slide. So actually, where are we now? We're at the point where we're trying to do 6 quality concerts each year, and we're trying to jazz it up a little bit. So make things a little bit different. And of course, we just finished talking about the reception with our friends. And then we also introduced something recently, which is a pre-concert talk, where our music director interviews the musician, talks a little bit about the repertoire that they're planning to play, and gives us an overview, a little bit of just who they are, where they come from, how did they get to this point, and where things go. Okay, I'm going to turn it back to Nancy, and let's have the next slide. This is going to start with the season.
Well, I also want to just tell you that these pictures, many of the pictures, if we start seeing some pictures here, we have a volunteer who takes hundreds of pictures. Tom Huey, some of you I'm sure know him. He used to be, I think, Bill's neighbor on Oviatt Street. And he takes wonderful pictures. So when Marilyn called me in the afternoon 2 days ago and said, my speaker can't come, it's canceled. Can you do a program for us? And I'm like, well, I'll try. And she said, do you know anybody who takes pictures, or who is the guy that takes pictures? So I put Marilyn in touch with Tom Huey, and also with our sound guy, Steve Savagno. And within 24 hours, or Marilyn has this entire program put together. So again, thank you.
So we started Beethoven program.
Later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first concert last fall was Peter Takos. I'm not sure how you say his last name. What a nice guy. He's an internationally famous pianist. He's played all over the world, and he's just so down to earth, and his talent is just unbelievable. So that was the first concert. Usually these concerts, we had started them in September, close to Labor Day, when we found out that was probably a little too early. Some people are still taking the end of the summer vacations. So we've kind of pushed that up to the end of September, the 1st of October. So then the next concert was, I believe, the Cleveland, not Jazz Orchestra. Anyway.
Here we go.
And this is a little different from the original premise of the very classical Baroque kind of music. We think that although our audience is basically an older audience, likes classical music, that we need to kind of bring in some new sounds for our audience to hear. And again, with the pre-concert talking to each one of the musicians, or one or two of them in a group like this, just kind of lends a real personal touch to each concert.
Next slide.
And this one was the
That's Minche, the emerging artist.
right. And I will let you talk about that because
Okay.
I was in Florida.
Right. Well, she was wonderful. She was really, really wonderful. And you see the last one that she performed was the Ravel, a violin sonata number 2. But she also had an incredible accompanist on the piano. Another South Korean woman who just really was wonderful. Next slide. And you can see from the day, we have happy performers. Next slide. But we also did something new at that concert. Okay, next slide, please. This was the first time we'd ever featured a high school student, and we found one at St. Mary. Chris Petrella moved to Hudson 2 years ago with his family. His mother, Diana, is the Dean of Arts at Kent, and his father is a world-renowned percussionist, and the whole family, all 5 children, are very, very talented. But Chris is number 2, and he plays the trumpet. And last year, he won an international contest for being the most outstanding high school student playing the trumpet at a contest in South Carolina. So you can see he's a nice down-to-earth kid, volunteered to accompany the adult choir at St. Mary, and that's how I found him. I knew he was special from the very first day that I heard him play. Let's go to the next. So here we're going to see if we can hear a little bit. We're going to actually go to 2 minutes and 45 seconds into the program, and this is the Trumpet Concerto from Haydn. Yep. Close enough. Let's see if we can get the volume up just a little bit. Well, it looks like we've got our volume at 100%. I'm sorry. Well, the volume isn't coming quite through, but you could certainly hear the talent, the trills. I would urge you to go to YouTube and check him out. He has 3 videos that are on YouTube, but this young man is going places. He really is. He's been accepted at many of the prestigious music schools, including our own CIM, but also Juilliard and Curtis. He's making his decision now. He's down to 4. And a lot of it comes to how much cash are they going to give him? Because they certainly are. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. But here, it was kind of a family affair. Here's a picture of the Petrella family. From the left, his father, Nick. And then you can see there is Chris, his mother, Diana, his sister, and our music director. Okay, so it was wonderful to have the whole family come on out. And he performed three different solos that day and just blew us all away. Now, there were 8 Rotarians who were at that concert as well. And I think everyone who was there was very, very impressed with this young man. Next slide, please. And then our next concert was the Callisto Quartet. This is the artist in residence quartet affiliated with Yale University. They are just completing their first year of a 2-year assignment there. And one of the young women in the second from the left is Hannah Moses, who is from Stowe, Ohio. Her mother, Marie, is a Suzuki instructor in our community. And Marie also plays at St. Mary. So we're taking advantage of some of those connections. But several of the musicians are graduates of the the Cleveland Institute of Music. I keep forgetting where I'm at. Okay. Next slide. Here we go. He's coming right back in. Yeah. It was. Chris's mother is a concert pianist as well, and she accompanies him frequently. The interesting thing about the family is that they live in Chadds Ford, and Chris has been known to rise early and practice. And in order to accommodate the sanity of the household, they built a sound studio in the basement. Okay, a true sound studio. Okay, so here we are, all in the family. That's Hannah with her mom and dad on the left, and that's her grandpa in the lower picture on the right. How fun is that? Next slide, please. And then here are some pictures. Our musicians are happy people. They're doing what they love. And isn't that great? Next slide. Okay, coming up.
Well, coming up this coming Sunday is the Baldwin Wallace Choral Group, which is made up of all of these happy young people. And it's going to be a Sondheim concert, which I think is going to be fabulous. So I hope that we will see all of you come to this program. It promises to be a little out of the ordinary than our usual programs. And I know that it will be very enjoyable.
Such high energy.
Yeah, yeah.
Go to the next slide and you'll see what they're performing, because you're going to see some names you know.
Little night music.
Sunday
In
in
the
the Park with George. These are all some of the musicals these things are taken from. So it is a fast pace. They are on and off the stage really quickly. They've been with us before, and it's a really fun time. Next slide. That's last.
So the last concert, Lola Rothman, I think some of you knew, who was very instrumental in presenting classical music in the greater Akron area, as Marilyn said, with Tuesday Morning, and was one of the founders of Music from Western Reserve. Well, she came to one of our board meetings. She, of course, was one of the original board people, and several years ago, it's probably 7 or 8 years ago or so now. I've been president for so many years that they kind of all blend together. But she came to our meeting on her 90th birthday, and we had a lovely birthday party for her at one of our board meetings. I think Bill might have been there that time. And I do want to stop here for a second and say how lucky we also have been to have Bill Wooldridge in our group for many, many years, very active, helping us get funding, a great cheerleader for Music from Western Reserve, Bill and Joe. So he told me a few years ago that he was going off the board, and I said, that's impossible. You know, you're on the board for life. But he did, but we still see Bill at all the concerts and at the receptions afterwards. So Bill, your contribution will never be forgotten, I'm telling you, for what you've done for us. So anyway, back to the Lola Rothman concert. So her daughters, one of whom, Beth Rusnick, who just retired from Duke in North Carolina, became somewhat involved. They wanted to do the year her mom died, or the year following the Mother's Day, following the death of her mom. They wanted to do a special concert in honor of her and their dad and her dad. The sister, Susan Rothman, is chairman of the board of CIM, and is also, so part of this whole Rothman family scene. So Beth has established the Lola Rothman Memorial Concert and will fund it. The Rothman family will fund it in perpetuity. The last concert, which is always in May, usually the first Sunday in May, last year it was on Mother's Day, which was too bad in a way, because a lot of people had other activities to do with their families. So we try to avoid that if possible. But anyway, this year, it's going to be, as we said earlier, the Cleveland Orchestra members, accompanied by Jolt Bognar, who has been our executive director and artistic director, who has resigned as of the end of our fiscal year, which is June 30th. And so we are at the moment, in fact, today, we are interviewing for his replacement. And Marilyn and I will be doing that a little later this morning. And we're very excited. Unbelievable candidates who are seeking this position, which is a part-time job. But at any rate, I hope to have that in place by the last concert, and we can go on from there and grow bigger and better.
Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, we're just going to bounce through some of these. You're going to see some people that maybe you know. Next slide. We've seen those guys before. Okay. And of course, Bill's wife is one happy person. And one more slide, please. And here are other people I think you know.
Where's Susan?
Okay. Here. Okay. Okay, and of course, you recognize some of these people, but the receptions are just lovely. Nice food, good company. What more could you want? And of course, young people. Not everybody is over 70. We're beginning to draw young people who are classmates and supporters and friends of our artists. And that does make the whole evening a lot more fun. And then we have, of course, our caterer. Rich, get off your phone, take a look at your sister. Yeah, you do know her. She does a great job for us. She does a great job for us, making the little croissant sandwiches, the little egg salad sandwiches, making sure we've got nice fresh fruits and vegetables and cheese plates. It's really, we want for nothing. Let's just put it that way. It's really quite nice. And then we have one more, and boy, I'm hoping that maybe we can hear this one because this is a lot of fun. Yaron Kohlberg is a world-renowned pianist, and he's got a jazzy version of a Mozart piece here. That's a lot of fun to listen to.
What time do you want it queued to?
5:53:30. Now, this Mozart piece is loud and all over the piano, but the way that he plays it is different than any other way that I've ever heard it played.
So you will hear the melody.
He's very expressive. He's really interesting to hear, and he's a true treasure to our community.
He is, Aaron, and as Marilyn said, he has played all over the world. He's really internationally known. He is the president of Piano Cleveland.
Some of you may very interesting.
And Yaron is president.
Now, this is kind of traditional, but wait till he jazzes it up. This is not sped up, okay? This is the way he plays it. Yes. Hard to contain yourself. He's having a good time. That's the ragtime. No, he just about jumped off the page, didn't he? That is so fun. That is so, so fun.
Yes, it really is.
And you know, it's one thing to watch that on YouTube. It's another to be there in person and to experience it live. You can't get closer than you can get at Christ Episcopal Church. So come on out and enjoy the time. Anybody have any questions for us?
Yeah, Tom.
Tom, come on up.
So I'll watch what I say then. No, so these typically are Sunday.
There's Sunday at 5 o'clock. It's 4:30. Jolt started a new, kind of a new thing that people love. He has a 4:30 to about 10 minutes to 5 chat with the musicians, and just it's very up close and personal. And people have been coming. They get there 4:15, so they can sit right in the front, you know, so they can see and hear the conversation between Jolt and the musician or musicians. So yes, and it's generally over. The concert is usually, we try to keep it to an hour. Sometimes it runs over a little bit if they want to take a intermission, depending on what they're doing and who they are. They may take a 10-minute break in the middle. But we're out of the church by 7 o'clock.
By 7 o'clock. And
Yeah.
I can say, I mean, I've been to one of these so far, the one with the young man who's the trumpeter. And I will say Marilyn recruited me to go, and so did my dad. And my dad's been talking about this for years. And so I went to my first one. I had a really nice experience. And they're right. They have a nice reception afterward too.
They really do.
Get a chance to chat with people that.
Well, the nice thing is chatting with the musicians. I mean, they're happy to get something to eat. So they come in and they fill up their plates, and they're very accessible to just converse with. And you kind of learn a little bit more about them. You know, I didn't see you sitting back there, Phil, but I also want to single out Phil Tobin for all the support that he has given to Music from Western Reserve, among other many organizations, he and Bill founding Hudson Community Foundation, and then really building on that and helping us at Music from Western Reserve. And Phil sponsors a concert every year, and we're forever grateful to you, Phil, for doing that. Thank you very much.
I would just like to encourage everybody that hasn't had a chance to go, because my wife and I started going a number of years ago. We find that 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, you know, there's either an NFL game you don't want to watch. It's a lousy February day. It's just, I think the timing is great. 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, you stroll in, you don't have to make any big plans or anything. You see Marilyn, you give her your money, she lets you right in with a smile. But the talent, I mean, we go to the orchestra 6 times a year, and to see the people that you see from way up in the back, and then you get to talk to them, is a special treat. And the young trumpeter from Hudson, you're going to hear about this young man.
I think we are. The life of a musician these days is really a hustle. You know, I mean, they're constantly looking for jobs, things to put on their CVs, and ways to be relevant in the community. So it's a win-win when you come right down to it. We're going to see if we can hear him a little bit better. So let's see what we got. Remember, this kid is like 17, 18 years old.
And his instructor is Michael Sachs. His instructor is Michael Sachs, who is the lead principal trumpet player for the Cleveland Orchestra and is world renowned.
Hudson High School, guys. Hudson High School. How about that? Any other questions? This is also probably the best deal in town because your ticket price is $25. Okay, you certainly can't walk into any other venue for that kind of money. So it's a good deal. It's a great program. Nice people come out to support us. Thank you.
I have a couple of books here that were written by Abe Geisen, who used to be the editor of the Beacon Journal many, many years ago when we really had a real newspaper. It's very interesting history of how the organization got started. And I also have brought some programs, which in order to save money, we came up with the idea last year of, first of all, having flex tickets. So you can buy a season tickets, if you buy 6 season tickets, you can use them all at the same time with you and your family, or you can use them 2 at a time or 1 at a time. However, it saves us money and also gives you a lot more flexibility in coming to our concerts. We did the same thing with the programs. Instead of printing a separate program for each concert, we print one, and then we have an insert for each concert for the specific musician or musicians playing that day. So I have a few extra ones here. If you've never seen them, you're welcome to take them. And Marilyn, I don't know if you have one of these books. So this is for you, because you need it.
Thank you.
And finally, here's our check for the gala.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
And actually, last year, a set of season tickets was offered at the gala from Music from the Western Reserve. 2 sets. Awesome. That was really be nice. So any other questions from the audience? Thank you very much. We really appreciate your attention today and come out and support us. We're a very lucky town to have something like this. I think we've got a 50-50 raffle now, don't we? Let's have Nancy draw.
Thank you, Nancy. Okay. Read it.
Keep this coupon, it says. Number 923256. Mr. Tobin.
$8 today, Mr. Tobin. $8. $8. That's not what he's interested in.
I apologize. All right. If I win the big money, it's going to be to the West. Just $190. There's one in there. Oh, next week.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much. I will be taking my granddaughter this weekend. She loves the music theater. I think she would probably love to see the VW program. So thanks very much.
You didn't say, but students are free, so you can bring all your grandchildren, anybody under 18,
Oh, outstanding.
18 and under. There's no
Wonderful.
charge. It's not-
There was an email sent out with my name on it about the board meeting on the 9th, which is a Tuesday. This is an attempted coup of the Rotary. We're starting our own splinter group. So those people that were included on that, please show up on that Tuesday. We have no meeting site. There's no agenda. So again, it was a mistake. I don't know how my name got on it, but please disregard. Thank you.
The one person who has not been a president of Rotary is leading a coup. I mean, good grief. What are we up to? Okay. Thank you so much for coming this morning. We really appreciate your attention. Yeah. Sure, sure. Well, we do know of one act that's coming in. Deborah Nagy leads a group that's called
Lady
Lay Delise, and she will be performing in the fall, the late fall. And so that's a huge act. It's going to be wonderful. She's an oboist, very, very talented, grew up in the public school system, started as a fourth grader in orchestra in the elementary school, and now is making her living leading this group. She also performs with the Paulus Fire and several others. Like I said, if you're a musician, you're going to show up in a number of places.
I think that's in October.
Yeah, October, November. Yeah. So clang the bell.
Yeah.
Is it in the sanctuary?